why FOI is very important, because it tries to equalize the information asymmetry. Because the citizen now has the power to request or ask information from the government. We're the fuel for our entrepreneurs, for our MSMEs, for our business owners, and for our corporations, so that their business grows and it helps the economy. Yeah, DTI oversees all anything to do with industry development.
Magandang araw sa kanilang lahat at nandito na naman tayo sa The Sun Podcast, one of our great episodes today. And our guest is somebody who's very dynamic. Alam nyo, bata pa to, actually bata pa talaga. Nakikita ko na to sa social media kasi marami siya mga post na talagang I think he has gained a lot of followers, especially with his home to work bicycle. A very good example of a young man who is advocating such an activity that will not only help the environment but also our body. At saka marami ho itong mga anong tawag doon. Wala pa hong TikTok, nagti-TikTok na to. Oo, meron pa nga isa nakakipagpaligo siya dito sa Bukidnon sa isang poso, no? Ang guest po natin ay isang Assistant Secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry, Chris Ablan. Magandang araw sa iyo.
Magandang araw din, Tito. Thank you for having me.
Ay nako, malaking papasalamat from the Sun Podcast that you are here with us. Now, I went through your bio data, and I'm sure when you are introduced, a lot of people know about you. You being a lawyer, you've been schooled in Ateneo and the University of the Philippines, and then you occupied positions in many government institutions. Pero there is one thing that struck me. How important is the freedom of information in terms of governance? Sa iyo, huwag mo nang basahin yung batas. But sa iyo ba, in your actual practice, saan nakakatulong ito with regards to the citizens and the government?
Yeah. Freedom of information, or FOI, is very important in a democratic republic government like what we have. A government that is based on a conversation between the citizens and the leaders that they elect. Now, before FOI or absent FOI, usual governments enjoy information asymmetry. Meaning to say, they have information in their possession to make, of course, their very important policy decisions that the citizen does not have. And so, nagkakaroon tayo ng inequality on the information because sometimes movements and decisions made by governments are not understood by the people. And if the information is not being cascaded down to them, people might be questioning things and not fully understand them. So that's why FOI is very important, because it tries to equalize the information asymmetry. Because the citizen now has the power to request or ask information from the government. The government now has to disclose such information. That way, when there's a public discourse, whether it's through elections, through debates, through consultations, you will have a very dynamic discussion and not something that is really uneven between government and citizen.
Okay, so ang narinig ko, may pulisiya ang gobyerno na because of the FOI or the Freedom of Information law, ay now merong symmetry kung para i-download yan sa public. I had a personal experience where I had a question with the BIR and somebody sent me the memorandum ba or circular. Hindi ko naintindihan. How does that FOI really work in terms of, okay, ito yung policy, ito yung kailangan gawin, ibibigay nyo lang ba yun? Or do you really have time to sit down and explain, especially to the not so schooled members of the population? How does that work really in terms of access to information and giving that information to the public?
Right. I understand where you're coming from. And maybe that's a question if if processed information is included in a request for information through FOI. And somewhere along the line, we do have to compromise between the right of the citizens to ask for information and also the responsibility of the government to provide that information. And so if citizens have all this freedom to request anything under the sun, no pun intended, then our government workers might be overwhelmed with
Yes.
trying to process all of that information.
Oh.
And so the policy for FOI is actually the right does not extend to processed information. The right only extends up to raw data or raw information. So whatever the agency has and it is requested, it then has an obligation to release it. Now, whether you understand the data is already beyond the FOI. As long as the government agency gives you the data that is needed, it's up to the user or to the requester to process it on his own. Now, we've heard stories that some agencies actually go through, the work of processing it, making it understandable to the requester, but not all government agencies do the extra mile. So for them, compliance is already giving the data. In your case, the memorandum circular that may be a little bit confusing for you.
So access, that is the mandate of the FOI.
Correct.
Access. So kung may access, ang nangyayari kasi diyan, nakikita mo naman yung movement sa social media. The sky is blue, pero kanya-kanyang interpretation, 'di ba? And that gives rise to a lot of confusion. Now, wala ba tayong pwedeng gawin? But maybe not for now.
Right.
Yung position mo sa DTI, sinasabi niya na you are the one responsible or not. Your department is the one responsible for making sure that things get done as quick as possible. Tama ba yung pagbasa?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we are the we're the fuel for our entrepreneurs, for our MSMEs, for our business owners, and for our corporations, so that their business grows and it helps the economy. Yeah.
No, so dati kasi napakasimpleng exercise, engagement with the DTI is securing a business name.
Yes.
'Di ba? Pupunta ako sa opisina ng DTI, mag-fill up ako ng form, etc., nagbabayad. Ngayon, it's all available online.
Yes.
Yeah. What powers that yan? Ilang percentage of right now?
Right.
Ilang years na ba yan nangyayari? Anong percentage ba ng users of that portal ang nakikita nyo na acceptance? At ilan pa rin yung pumupunta pa talaga sa opisina nyo?
Actually, we're close to 80 to 90% already of all sole proprietorships who want to register their business name. They do it over the online portal already. And you just have around 10 to 20% that still go to a DTI office to process it. We'd like it to be 100%, but then of course we understand that not all business owners have still at this day and age have access to the internet and to a computer. So we still maintain a cashier and a receiving officer for requests for business name registration.
Yeah, I can understand kasi ito pa, I was at the Regional Securities and Exchange Commission office. And this person was going to apply to put up a corporation. And then ina-explain sa kanya na hindi ho kasi pwede na pupunta ka dito sa likod ko. Tapos siya yung gagawa. Kailangan ho pupunta ka ng opisina. Gawin mo sa computer mo. And sabi niya, wala ho kaming computer. Napaisip ako ba, magtatayo ng corporation, walang computer. But at the same time, pwede man siya pumunta ng internet cafe. No? The thing there is, how do you now bridge that gap in terms, meron ka ng gap sa paggamit ng computer, meron ka pang gap on the availability of hardware. And if we are going to talk of 10% or 20% of the population still unable to avail of the portal, it's still a big number. No?
Yeah.
And
But there is a push from government, from our colleagues in the ICT to have it fully online. So I'm not surprised with your story about the SEC. I do know for their platform everything is done online, but we do have to understand that we have many Filipinos, especially in the provinces, who don't have access to internet and to a computer, and so we still provide, like I mentioned, a brick and mortar for them to go to. Now there is a budget cost there, because now we have to maintain two things. We have to maintain the portal, and yet we also need to pay, a warm body to receive your request. So it's a budgetary issue, but we at the DTI, we try to provide all services. So while we are providing online, we still maintain the brick and mortar because of those few Filipinos, until everyone becomes, computer literate and has access to fast internet.
Okay. Thank you for that. Maganda na magkakaroon ng parang fully, anong tawag nun? Online transaction. Even payment, di ba?
Yes.
Oo, nangyayari siya. Ngayon, may isang industriya, the travel industry, for example, na pagdating sa tawag nito, hindi magandang pamamalakad ng isang travel agency, for example. Siyempre, sakop siya ng Department of Tourism. But it seems that with the Department of Tourism, mas concerned sila sa inbound, yung turismo, mga tourist na pupunta sa ating bansa. Pero pagdating ngayon sa yung internal natin, walang power ang Department of Tourism to police, no? Ang napansin namin, ay nasasabihin nila na punta ka sa DTI. But meron ba talagang sakop ang DTI sa mga ganyang mga negosyo like the travel industry, mga tour operators, mga ganyan?
As a general rule, the DTI implements the Consumer Act, and the definition of consumer is, purchase of goods or services. So as a general rule, yes, but since the Consumer Act, we've had several other laws creating several different agencies, and then when it's a particular sector, it's already the jurisdiction of that particular agency. So I'll give you an example, Tito. No? So for example, it's the discounts for senior citizens. Now, as a general rule, that falls under the DTI because it is a consumer issue. But ever since the creation of the Senior Citizens Act, that responsibility has been transferred to the OSCA of the LGUs. So and also right now there's the Commission for Senior Citizens. So those particular issues are outside of the DTI already, because there's already specific agencies that have been tasked for that. Another perennial issue na umaabot sa DTI would be problems on ORCR of those who buy motorcycles or motor vehicles, and the casa or the showroom that sold them won't give them the ORCR. They can't use their motorbikes outside of their village. It goes to us, but it's under the jurisdiction of the LTFRB and the LTO. So as a general rule, these things, the travel agencies and the customers of travel agencies fall under the Consumer Act. But I would agree with you, if it's tourism-based, it should be addressed by the DOT first. And if they can't address it, then it goes to the DTI.
Ano nyo na ba yan? Na-measure nyo ba yung timeline from the minute a consumer files a complaint to the actual resolution?
Yes. So we follow the Anti-Red Tape Act or the ARTA law. And the ARTA or the Anti-Red Tape Authority used to be an office under DTI, but then of course it was separated already. It's a full-fledged government office already. But we do subscribe to the ARTA rules when it comes to when a complaint is made. How many days do we process it? We issue a decision by the adjudicator. If you don't agree with the decision, then you can make an appeal, and then before you go to the OP or you go to the president.
Pero may limit, di ba?
Yes, yes, yes.
Na kailangan magawa ng resolution.
Yes, yes.
Tama. Ngayon, nasaan ang DTI? Kasi ang ganda ng pangalan Department of Trade and Industry. Ano pa talagang sakop nyo? Lahat ng kalakalan, lahat ng industriya, except for some exceptions na na-devolve to another agency or under another department?
Yes.
What is the general scope ng DTI?
Actually, I've only been in DTI for a little over 2 years, and I didn't realize how wide the scope, how wide the net it casts over our different kinds of industries. The general rule is DTI oversees all anything to do with industry development. So we have construction industry. That's why the CIAP is under the DTI umbrella. Right now, we also oversee the film industry, the Film Academy of the Philippines, and the Film Development Council of the Philippines, FDCP, is under the DTI. Creative Industries, under the Creative Industry Act, is under the DTI. So I think any baby industry that needs to grow falls under the jurisdiction of the DTI when it's big enough. And then the hand holding ceases, and then it becomes its own or has its own regulatory body. But sakop ng DTI almost all industry development, from small business, MSME development, all the way down to our big industries. Yeah, the Board of Investments, or BOI, for foreign investments. We also have the PEZA, the Philippine Ecozone Authority,
which is under DTI?
Also under the DTI. So you have the factories over there and the big plants. And so from the small business owner, sari-sari, maybe a startup, all the way up to the big corporations. The DTI tries to make things easier for these corporations and small businesses to grow.
Parang parang halos lahat ng kalakalan, lahat ng ginagawa ng isang Pilipino, parang sakop, di ba? Nagbenta ka ng kotse, bumili ka ng kotse, nagpagawa ka ng brand, or nag-invento ka ng isang produkto, parang ang laki-laki talaga ng sakop ng DTI. But what is it really? Does it give incentives? Yes.
Yes.
Does it regulate?
Yes.
Yes. And
so there are two tracks, just exactly what you mentioned. First is the development track. So we try to help these industries, big or small, grow bigger. So and then also regulatory. So it's developmental and regulatory.
Mhm.
So the regulatory part, we have our fair trade group, which includes the adjudication part. If you have a consumer complaint, we also have our Bureau of Philippine Standards and Philippine Accreditation Bureau, which ensures that what you buy off the shelf, Christmas lights and whatnot, are of a particular quality. So there's a developmental side on the DTI, and there's also a regulatory side of the DTI.
So yung mga ganon, so ganon kayo kalaki in terms of scope. And in the budget in the GAA,
Yes.
Magkano yung tinatanggap niyo? In the ranking.
We are one of the in the lower tier in terms of the budget.
Why?
We asked for a bigger budget, but of course we try to live off the modest budget that the DBM and Congress gives us. But of course we'd like to have a higher budget. In terms of ranking, we're around 20th in rank. So roughly there are between 25 to 30 departments, and we're between the 20-25 rank. Currently, the DTI OSEC, or the central office, received a budget of 7.39 billion pesos. That may seem large, but if you compare it to let's say the DepEd has the highest. The DepEd has 1.3 trillion peso budget, but of course that's education. And then I think you have the The DA, I think it has around 300 billion. And then you see the DTI, we have 7.39 billion. So we're one of the agencies with the low budget, but we try to provide the boost to the industries and the businesses, because we know that these businesses pay their income tax, and you also pay the VAT and all other taxes, and that's what drives everything. So we do our best to help the companies, because the companies eventually fuel the economy.
Pero, okay, be that it may, parang, bakit ang dami-daming SMEs? Wala bang nag-aambisyon na maging mas malaki siya? I mean, hanggang sari-sari store na lang ba tayo?
Yes, yes.
Tagang refilling ng water?
Yes.
Barker?
Yes.
How will we increase the involvement of a sole proprietor
Yes.
to some na he can have 20 employees, 30 employees, and all that? No,
Yes.
what's the plan?
Yes. So the good thing, Tito, is that our current secretary, Cristina Aldeguer Roque, is an entrepreneur herself. So her dream is that every micro enterprise graduates to become a small enterprise, and every small enterprise graduates to become a medium enterprise, and every medium enterprise becomes a large enterprise. So you are correct, no? For a long time, we've been languishing for at wherever we are. If you're a sari-sari store owner, you stay as a sari-sari store owner. And so in the past 2 years, we asked the question, why aren't they graduating? Why aren't they moving up? And we found out that there are several reasons why they don't graduate, although they want to. And we found out it's capitalization. And so we asked for a higher budget, and we received a higher budget for our small business corporation. So for GAA 2026, I think they got a boost of 1 billion pesos. So with that 1 billion pesos, small business corporation can provide non-collateral loans for our micro and small enterprises, so that they can get the needed push, so that they can buy the raw materials. Because the problem with our micro and small enterprises, they may get a purchase order if they participate in any of our trade fairs, but if they don't have the capitalization to buy the raw materials to process it, wala rin silang mabibigay sa mga potential buyers nila. So we have this SB Corp loans, so that if they need capitalization, infusement, then they can get the loans at a very low interest rate and with no collateral for the first level kinds of loans. And then we also try to give them training for certification. So many of our medium who have saturated the market here in the Philippines would like to be able to export abroad. But because of the changing environment between countries and FTAs, they found out that there are several regulations for them to be able to export. So we have the Export Management Bureau and other offices in DTI that provide the training. So for example, if you want to export to Europe, they're very big on sustainability and ESG requirements. And anong alam ng isang business owner on ESG, di ba? So we provide the training so that they can comply. And so, when they get a purchase order from Europe, they're able to get the certifications needed for them to export. So that's the plan. The plan is to make all of our micro graduate eventually and not stay stuck.
Pero pupunta pa sila sa opisina ng DTI.
No, they can do it all online. So the certifications or the trainings that we have, if it doesn't need your physical presence, you can actually join our trainings online. We have those things.
Kasi alam mo, we work with the PDLs, the Persons Deprived of Liberty sa jail. And then may bakery sila, may dressmaking. Meron ba silang mga flower na pag inilagay mo to sa magandang vase or package it well, pwede mo nang ilagay sa one of the more expensive boutiques or department stores. So for example, ano kung kailangan gawin? Meron akong ganitong produkto. Parang ang ganda na ng packaging. Nabebenta ko na dati, binibili lang ng 20 ng bumibisita sa jail. pero may nagbagandang loob, inayos,
Mm.
nabebenta na nila ng 500.
Mm.
So, anong gagawin ko? Pupunta ako sa opisina ng DTI?
Yes. So if you already have a growing business and you want to further grow it, and you need access to the market, the DTI can help you access your particular market. So the DTI organizes our trade fairs. So we have our provincial trade fairs. Pwede silang magsimula doon. So from the PDLs, they make these flower arrangements and whatnot. They can sell sa provincial trade fair. And then once they're able to establish themselves already and grow their business bigger, they can participate in our regional trade fairs. The regional trade fairs are more or less held in major metros, either Manila, Cebu, or Davao. So they will bring you there. The trade fairs are free as long as you qualify as a recipient MSME. If you qualify, we will house you in the trade fair just so that you can grow your business.
Pero hindi naman to business eh. Mga gawa lang ng mga PDLs. Wala yung kumpanya, walang business. You mean to say na kailangan gumawa sila ng parang business. Mag-apply sila ng trade name. Parang ganun ba?
I mean, ideally, in order to participate in a trade fair, you have to be a business owner. But I do understand that, some PDLs, of course, they're incarcerated. They cannot form. It's part of their civil penalties, siguro. What I would suggest is that they find, a civil society who can organize outside for them, and then buy it from them, and be the consolidator of their products. And then, of course, participate in the trade fairs.
So ngayon, meron isang product, for example, very raw. Pwede ba na tutulungan ng DTI kung paano yung packaging, paano yung labeling, mga ganon?
Yes.
That's a free assistance?
Yes. So we have a project or a program, and it's been in existence for, I think, 15 years already, or almost 15 years. It's called the SSF, the Shared Service Facility. So one other barrier that we saw for some of our businesses that can't grow is because they don't have enough capital to buy the big equipment needed for them to make their product better. Packaging is one of those barriers. A long time ago, if you buy Cornic from Ilocos, you'd buy them in a see-through plastic that's been sealed by candles. But of course, like you and me can buy it because we're from the Philippines, but it might not be so palatable visually to a foreign buyer. So what the DTI did was it purchased the food labeling machine, and it's the S there, the shared service, is because the machine will be shared by not just one person. It's not a donation to one person or one business owner. It's a use of rack agreement with co-op or a group of business people, including PDLs and women and senior citizens that have a product. And then they can use that. They can go to the facility, put in their goods, and then it will come out as a package. And then it also includes design. So the shared service facility for that includes the design of the packaging and the printing of the packaging, and then the actual sealing of the packaging, so that they can grow their business and not just be, on the side of the road, but they can actually commercialize the business. One other successful SSF we have are here in Marikina. In Marikina, the local shoe industry
meron pa?
grows. We have a shared service facility specifically for our shoemaking industry here in Marikina. So what happens is, if you, for example, you want to get bespoke shoes, and you go to a shoe craftsman, and then they measure your things,
yes,
your foot, they go to a shared service facility in the DTI compound in Marikina, and then they input the measurements that they give you, and the machine, which is an SSF, produces the shoe last, the mold of your foot, and then they bring it back to their workshop, and then that's when they build your customized shoes. So if you've ever had your shoes customized in Marikina, high probability that the shoe last used by the shoemaker was produced by a shared service facility procured by the DTI.
Wow, that's good news. So, kasi mahal yan,
Yes,
yung
yes, yes.
bespoke.
Yes, yes, yes.
And because of DTI, nabibigyan sila ng opportunity na probably bumaba ang presyo pero gumanda yung quality.
Yes, yes, yes.
From where I come from, sabi nga nila, wala na bang ibang produkto ang Cagayan de Oro? Puro pastel na galing naman ng Camiguin. Pero ngayon, lahat na yata ng pasalubong, chicharon. No, that's one quality product that we have that ayaw kong i-promote. Ayaw nila eh. At pangalawa, pati bagoong, pati mga sardinas, lahat. Parang nakikita ko, yung sardinas, parang lahat na yata ng LGU dito sa Pilipinas merong sarili. Yung chicharon, marami din. How do you now establish the uniqueness na parang longganisa ni Lukban, longganisa ni Tugigaraw, longganisa ni Vigan? Pwede na ako magbukas ng isang longganisa from different areas in the Philippines. How does that, ano ba yan? Bigla na lang ba nangyari yan? Anong kinalaman ng DTI dyan?
Well, we're victims of our own success because we're able to introduce all of our entrepreneurs to all kinds of products. We can't stop them from copying each other. Why fix something that's not broken? So if a successful chicharon business from Bulacan is successful, maybe I can replicate the same in Mindanao, and that's a good success story. But we have to grow beyond that, Tito. So when you mention that, the first thing that comes to my mind, I don't know if it comes to your mind, is the term OTOP, one town, one product.
Yes.
And before it was explained to me, I really thought that the OTOP, or the one town, one product, was really for every town to have its own food product. But we have to think OTOP of not just food products, but of industries. So if you go to China, you will see that there's a particular province, particular city that produces, let's say, all vacuum cleaners. Every component of the vacuum cleaner is produced in that particular city. That way, they can have an fast ecosystem to produce, the vacuum cleaners that we buy online. Another city or another province has the capability to produce electric vehicles or EVs. There's a factory that makes the shell. There's a factory that makes that's how we should think OTOP. Not just bagoong, not just chicharon or bagnet. So and we have a law. It's called the Tatak Pinoy Law, which provides the Tatak Pinoy strategy. And I think the Tatak Pinoy strategy and the OTOP has to synergize together for us to develop these kinds of industries in different parts of our country. And it's fine to have longganisa everywhere, but we have to think more than that and build big industries around our cities.
I understand. Ganda. Ang ganda. Like sikat kami ngayon sa Kasuy. One barangay in Cagayan de Oro is sikat sa Kasuy. Pero napansin ko nga pagdating ko sa airport, naubusan sila ng regular yung packaging. Ba't nangyari yun? Hindi namin sir inasahan nung dumami ang flights, na-restore na yung mga canceled flights, grabe na yung demand. No? So, isa yan sa mga madali kasi, binanggit mo, meron kang 1 billion na available for small business,
micro and
small business. Pero tinuturuan na naman sila kung paano mag-handle ng pera.
Yes.
Kasama yun sa training.
Yes, Small Business Corporation has that arm, financial literacy.
That's good.
Yeah.
Kasi even mga farmers, sabi nga nila, magaling kami mag-produce. Ang problema namin is by the time magpa-plant kami, ubos na yung aming income from the sale of So, aasa na naman sila sa gobyerno na sana libre si seeds, libre si fertilizer, etc. Isa yan sa mga ini-introduce na financial literacy, ika nga. And ang ganda nung narinig ko about OTOP. na ikaw Chicharon City ka, ikaw Kasoy City ka. You have to think of paano? Can you repeat that again?
Bigger products, bigger industry. Now, I don't want to take anything away from our food product producers.
Yes.
That's fine. But if we really want for our economy to grow, we have to think of bigger products.
Yeah, kasi for example, there's a particular city in Mindanao na famous for sardines. And why? It's because doon galing yung isda. So naka-create sila ng product na up to now, by word yan. Kahit sa kapunta sa Pilipinas, there are just 2 brands that people look for and we all know it's coming from that city. Kasi nga, pati bote, pati lahat doon nang gagaling. Parang umiikot yung negosyo sa isang lugar. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, exactly. So the sardines come from that area, and then if you have like the oil should come from that area. The tomato sauce used for the sardines should come from the area, and the can and the metal needed to produce the canned good. In our vision, that should all come from that area, so that it's already processed. For a long time, we've always exported the raw materials. We export a lot of our, I'm not sure if it's the iron ore or some kind of the nickel, and it goes to China, let's say, and then they reprocess it, and then they make it into an iPhone, and then they sell it back to us. And then a lot of the components there come from us, but nalugi na tayo dun because it's been processed out.
Yes.
So the strategy under Secretary Roque and Secretary Go, when he was still in OSAPEA, and of course the president, was why are we just keeping on exporting our raw materials?
Yes.
We should be able to process our own materials. This is all under the Tatak Pinoy strategy.
Very nice.
Semicon is an industry where we export and then it comes back to us and we just assemble them. And yet we buy these things and it came from us. So we have to be able to come up with our own circuit board that is coming from our minds and then also processed by us so that we can get a higher value from our product.
That's very good. Ang ganda. Kanina may bisita tayo nagkaroon tayo ng episode with regards to export zone authorities. Yung pala, under DTI din yun. No? So, thank you very much, ASEC Chris. Alam mo, very popular yung mga ginagawa mong TikTok. Baka pwede mong gawin yan para ang tao ngayon, very, nakakaintindi basta tinitiktok.
Oo nga eh.
No? Especially that auto. Ngayon ko lang naintindihan na yung auto pala, hindi lang maano sa isang bote. Isa palang industriya yan sa isang lugar. A very good learning today. And how DTI, pero simple lang, di ba? Low budget. Tapos, not so, anong tawag din? You're not in the newspaper always.
Yeah.
Yet, you are at the very, of every human activity, especially with regards to the economy. So, ito po, narinig nyo po si Attorney Chris Ablan. Maraming salamat sa iyo, Attorney Chris, na pinaunlakan mo ang aming invitation so that more people will get to know how me as a sari store owner can be a chain. No? Aircon na siya, meron na siya. And then even maging abroad. Kasi in Cagayan de Oro, for example, I'm so proud that a coffee shop, a restaurant and all that, they have branches already in different parts of the country. And I'm glad to hear that because it's actually happening. So, maraming salamat po and please subscribe, like, and share the Sun Podcast.